So if you've wondered what I do for a living, apart from creating content every day, I run an online company called Ayurveda Store. I've been running it for 4.5 years now, and along this journey, I've kind of picked up fundamentals, pieces that are quite precious to business growth. So I've cracked one piece of the code, which is going from one milestone to another. So my next milestone that I want to reach, I need other pieces of knowledge. I need other pieces of fundamentals that I can piece together to kind of unlock that next milestone. So I thought, why not share what I learn? And with this knowledge transfer, whatever I learn, I'm going to be like digesting it myself again. So I'm not sure where this will go, but at the end of the day, I hope you learn something new, something that you haven't uncovered before, and that can really help you get ahead in life in terms of business or understanding how money works, understanding how investment works. So for the longest time, I've been super interested about the fundamentals of the business world, how capital works, how consumer behavior works, how a product market fit happens, innovation happens, how the psychology of consumers are used to market certain products, then that is how psychology of consumers are used to market certain products, and those products then go on to exponential growth. So apart from reaching goals in my business career, I love understanding the whole idea of companies, and that reinforces my learning. And when I implement and execute on that learning, I get growth. I get ahead in my business career. So I thought, because I'm in this new phase where I've taken my business from one level to another level, now the next level is a bit harder. It's a bit tough. And obviously, like, it is a money goal. It is revenue-based goal. So people say it's not as hard as the first milestone, but for me, because it's a new challenge, I need to look at it from a new perspective. And I thought about this last night when I was going to bed. I was like, I need to really change the way I look at business for this new phase to unlock, because the old fundamentals, the old understandings, I have to kind of unlearn so I can unlock and kind of pace myself through this new growth phase. So I need to get new mentors. I need to learn from new people who have been in this industry for a very long time, who understand business to the deepest level, who understand capital and product market fit, consumer behavior. All this, I thought, as I learn, I want to share that with you. So Next Human Leap is now pretty much going to be about business and investments, companies, and the basic foundation of all of this is learning from the people who have created value for the world, people who have created businesses which have really moved the world forward. Business and science, I feel, are one of the greatest change makers in history, as innovation kind of leads business, and then that innovation is fueled by science or by new emergent technologies. And then when that fits in the market through marketing, through testing products, etc., when that fits in the market, then that is at a specific time and place, when it fits with the people, then that leads on to great change. That leads on to great exponential growth. So right now I'm studying that. I'm studying how companies can achieve exponential growth. And I want to implement those strategies into my business. So I thought, as I implement those strategies, I thought I should just share that as well. So recently, because of the help of AI, knowledge has become very streamlined, and I can create mind maps very easily now. So I usually document everything on mind maps, because that's how our brain thinks. We think from like a branch perspective, and I recommend mind mapping to everyone because it just helps you to implement knowledge very easily into your brain, like embed knowledge clearly into your brain. So you remember things easily, and you can kind of put things in place, and kind of your mind, instead of learning from a linear perspective, your mind can really grow new branches, make new connections. And that's how also the mind works. Like neural connections, from a science perspective, they are kind of branches. They go attach and they grow out of that. So mind mapping is super crucial, and I use AI as a part of the process to mind map the books that I read. So I thought I should mind map knowledge of the best books that have been written, the classics that have been written on investment, on business. And as you go through, like, if you're on a business journey, and as you go through like a journey of growth, you will find new mentors. You will find new books that you have to read. You can't read the old books anymore. You can't read the top of the layer, like icing on the cake anymore. You really have to understand how the cake was made. So as you go through business, as you go through growth, you have to keep changing yourself. And that's a part of evolution. That's a part of adaptability. And adaptability is the greatest greatest nature of a human and nature itself. Like if as a creature, you can adapt to the environment around you and you can survive, your survival rates will go up. Adaptability predicts survival. So if you want to survive the longest, you have to adapt to every environment around you. And that's the fundamental nature of business and innovation. So a part of growing, a part of becoming new, you have to shed off your old self. You have to change your old self. You can't keep holding your old self together and try and like growth. It's not possible. So that requires a lot of change in your life as a human being. And I realized that this year as well, because last year I was at uni and I was running this online company in uni as well. So things were easier, there was less competition in the market. Things were less difficult in terms of marketing and grabbing people's attention to your product and then product purchases. So back in COVID, etc., it was really easy to grow, but now markets are shifting. There's saturation happening. So as the environment around you changes, you have to adapt. You have to innovate in a certain way. And you can't slowly innovate as well because you may get run out by your competitors. So it is a competitive field. Every business has its competition. You should, like the people who are at the top, they do suggest understanding how you can be number one or understanding how you can create a monopoly. But at a fundamental level where there is like the entire industry of every sector of industry has been standardized because of AI and the knowledge like has been streamlined, that makes it a level playing field for everybody. It's about using those tools. It's about using what is best and what is used where best. So the application of the tool as well as knowing the tool is what makes you outperform from other businesses. So you want to be able to compete at a very high level, at a very efficient level. And that's why innovation, constant experiments are crucial to business. So this entire year, I've just been innovating. I've just been launching new things, trying out new things. So seeing things that don't work, trying out other things that work, and as a result, learning throughout this process. And you sort of like see patterns happening where you can connect few dots and you can kind of have the aha moments that occur. And that comes from knowledge, that comes from piecing fundamentals of knowledge that you know from everything, whether it's philosophy, whether it's business, whether it's science, and kind of coming together and you have this aha moment that you can apply into your business because you know each kind of like industry, each sector. So you have to have kind of a generalized aspect of the world. You have to study a lot when you're in business. It's not linear. If you want to be dynamic, if you want to be creative in your business, you have to have knowledge of a lot of things. So as a result of this entire journey, I thought as I share things, I'll also myself learn. This is like a two-way learning process, if you can see. I've been through this mind map briefly, so I created this, and this is created from all the books that have been written on business that are the classics, like The Intelligent Investor, Beyond Entrepreneurship by Jim Collins, Charlie Munger's books, Warren Buffett's books. All these like philosophical as well as books that are written by the greats, like so all of these books have been combined and streamlined, and also the analogies are given as per the teaching. So there's analogies that are real life applicable and examples that have been given. And you'll see how the examples kind of branch out so that you can clearly imagine like how that scenario worked out for that person or that core concept. So that's the entire process of this mind map and my journey with business and how you can learn through this dual learning approach. And I hope you enjoy understanding what business is, entrepreneurship is. Like as much as I love the entire concept of entrepreneurship, becoming a great entrepreneur, innovating, science, business, investment, as much as I love this entire kind of ecosystem, I hope you enjoy it as well. And I hope you can apply the things that are not just for making money, but for thinking and navigating through life and helping you to adapt to your environments through innovation. So this is not just about money. It's more bigger than money because money is just like a result. Revenue is just a result of your business's core beliefs, your business's core why, your business's mission, and the way your business operates. Like revenue is just a result of that. So the deeper you understand your business, the deeper you understand yourself, the more closer you get to achieving better revenue. And it's a flow-on effect. Like I'll tell you what separates people from achieving the starting milestone in business is like getting a business up and running is difficult in itself. But people want an easy way out. Like that's the issue. And everybody has a different personality. So you have to understand whether a business suits your personality or not, or whether it's a job that will suit your personality. So there's two types. And obviously there's a creative part, athlete part as well. The artist part is also different to a business part and a job part. So you kind of really have to understand what suits your personality and what you love doing. That will decide whether you will be able to sustain in business or not. So if you're obsessed with what you do, the sustenance in business, because it's hard, harder than the usual job, etc., linear way of living life, because it's hard, your obsession will take you through it. Your obsession will help you go through difficulties with ease because you don't really care about what happens. You just respond to it with grace, and you respond to the things with, oh, I can solve this. It's always a problem-solving mindset. It's never, I'll run away from a problem and give it to someone else or try and like not do this. It's never that. It's always, how do I take this problem and create an opportunity out of it, or solve this problem and make money out of it? So it's always that mindset, and it comes from your birth. It comes from growing up, and some people have it, some people don't have it. And well, people that don't have it and they want to try and get into business, they will have the most difficult time in business. It's better for them to stay in a job, because I've seen, like, as I've gone through this journey, 4.5 years, even longer, like learning about people, meeting people, I've learned that some people, like, business is very easy. Like for me, business is easy. It's easy for me to solve problems. Like obviously it's kind of hard to understand that it's easy, but because I love doing it, it becomes easy, if that makes sense. It becomes, I wouldn't say simple, it's complicated, but it's easy. So for people who are not a business personality, like who are not like problem solving in nature, for them it will be really difficult, and it's not desirable. Like you'll find that a lot of businesses, like people are just stuck on one level and they stay stuck forever, or the business dies. Like eventually the business will die if you don't innovate, if you don't adapt. And that's the fundamental nature of business. It will die. Like there is a growth curve that happens, and if you don't grow the next stage, like you're gonna die. So it's important to understand that you have to constantly keep learning. The way to grow is learning. The way to grow is experimenting what you learn. And if you don't keep learning, if you don't keep experimenting, your growth will stop and your growth curve will just tank bottom. So it's important that as we go through this mind maps, as we go through this understandings, this is for a specific type of person. It's for the business person who has a problem-solving mindset. If you have a problem-solving mindset, you have the mindset of a business person. I'll go through a personality as well, business personality later on as I go through this mind map and later stages, because you have to really know yourself before you go into a business. And people say, oh, like, which business should I start? What's the next idea, etc. If you're looking for the next idea, if you're looking for it, business is not for you. You'll fail 100%, guaranteed. And I can say that because I've been through that journey. I've understood how business works, and I can predict how other businesses will also work because I've been through that journey. You know, because you have that experience, you can understand who's an entrepreneur and who's not an entrepreneur. Because you know to a fundamental that if you've grown from one level to another level, you've unlocked this entrepreneur. People in the startup community, people who raise investments, they can't get up to a particular milestone, and you've reached that. And that has ensured that you have that personality. You have that understanding of what business is, how business works, and what you need to succeed in business. You will have ups and downs. Like I have ups and downs all the time, but because at a core level, if you keep learning and if you enjoy learning and you enjoy experimenting with that learning, then business is for you. Then you'll keep growing. And I know that for a fact because experiments, or the rate at which you try things, predicts your growth. If you have that mindset of how I can apply this knowledge that I've learned as quickly to my particular life in this particular way, and it clicks, the speed at which you move predicts your growth. And that's been a fundamental nature of mine, is if I learn something, for example, in Ayurveda, if I learn something new, I'll always try it out firsthand. Like I always try it out. I always try out the new herb, always try out this, see if it works, see if it doesn't work. So this experimental mindset, this curious mindset to see if something works or not, that is the mindset of an entrepreneur. And there is no procrastination. There is no delay. If there's an inspiration you have to try out something new, you do it. There is no like, it's not the time for this. This is not the day for this. It's not like this, or this is not like, you know, the excuses that the mind comes up with. There's none of that. It's just straight line. Like I've learned this. Okay, let's try it out. See if it works and move on. In a particular human being, it's natural. People who are kind of drifting in life, they've never spent time with themselves. People who don't know what to do in life, they've never spent time with themselves. And it's unfortunate. That is the true reality. If someone asks you for career advice, if someone says, oh, where should I go? What should I do? Etc. If someone is asking for that advice, that in itself is the lack of clarity of the self. You should know what to do. You should know where to go in life, especially the biggest decisions like career. Oh, I just stumbled upon this degree, so I did it. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's a degree. It's something that you're going to invest your time into for years. So you should know that's going to work for you or not. You can't just stumble upon degrees. The biggest decisions of life take take time. They need to take time. For me, I wanted to be a chef earlier. I saw MasterChef and I was like, oh, like this is so cool. Like these celebrity chefs, they run like these competitions. And I used to love cooking. So I was like, oh, maybe I can be a chef. And I'll tell you the story. Like what happened was because I wanted to see what the industry was like. Again, this comes from an internal implementation mechanism inside DNA, whatever. The mind was like, okay, how can I get a good like job in terms of chef? This was when I was 16. So back in high school, I was like, I want to be a chef because I saw this happening, right? So I was like, what is the closest way? Like, how can I see if chef is good for me? What is like the easiest way? So I was like, let's get experience. Luckily, again, there was a gateway program in my school that allowed students to work as volunteers in any career or any industry that you wanted to work in, any job you wanted to work in as a volunteer. So you don't get paid, but you work as a volunteer. So I used to also do a lot of visualization and manifestation, whatever, back in the day. Even do it till now, but it's more so less because back you had a lot of time, etc. at high school, and there's not a lot of pressure, so you can just like chill around. So I went to my gateway teacher who helped us get into jobs, etc. for the career that you want to go in. So I was like, I want to be a chef. This was year 12, by the way. And in New Zealand, you have year 12 and year 13. So year 12, I wanted to be a chef. I was like, okay, let's try this out. And my teacher put me in Cassia. Cassia is one of the greatest, like one of the best restaurants in New Zealand. And the way I got into it is like, I didn't even know that I would get in there because I was like to my teacher that I want to get into the top restaurant. And mind you, like I'm just 16, like who's going to hire, you know, no experience, nothing. It's my first job. But I wrote it on my vision board that I want to work at Cassia. And I wrote my entire vision board around chef and restaurants, etc. So coming back to the application, so I was like, okay, I want to apply for Cassia and let's see if it happens or not. And guess what? I got into the job. So I got into Cassia and I worked there for 2 weeks as a volunteer, and they offered me the job as a bartender or a helper, you can say, not bartender, bar helper. So I worked for around 1.5 years at Cassia, understanding how chefs operate, how they work, etc. And guess what happened? I realized that chefing is not for me, that this entire industry is kind of unhealthy in a way. And I'm not to say that the chefing industry is not important. Like I love chefs, but it's not for me because I prioritize health a lot in my life. And I learned that from my family, sort of like my family's health awareness is quite high. Health literacy is quite high. So I got it from them. And I kind of understood that these chefs, they like a lot of them are bald, a lot of them are kind of overweight, not to judge, but they're constantly working 16 hours a day. There's no break. You're constantly on your toes. You're under pressure. There's a lot of stress, heat inside. And I was like, no, I can't do this to my body and my mind. So then I was like, I want to work in another place. Like I want to do something else. And that's where I got the clarity from to be a naturopath or to go in the natural health industry. It's from realizing when I started working somewhere, experimenting there, that it's not working. I realized that something else is important. And that's why I chose my degree to be a bachelor's of natural medicine. And I enjoyed it so much. And yeah, like I started the business midway through college and it was COVID at that time. So it was kind of the studies were easier. There was not a lot of pressure as well. So I had time for my business, growing my business part-time. And then it grew to a level where I didn't imagine it would grow that much. And I had to hire people, etc. So there was obstacles, there were hurdles every single day, every single month. There's hurdles, everything. Every single day you're hit with new challenges, etc., new problems to solve. But throughout that, you're enjoying the process. There are like days where you don't want to do something or like you have a low day, but it doesn't matter. Like your emotions don't really matter because you kind of want to do it and you want to see if something works or not. You want to problem solve. So that's what I mean, like by being a problem solver at heart, being a problem solver at the fundamental core self. Coming back to people not knowing themselves, people not spending time with themselves. That is the greatest sorrow I believe a person can have, is not spending time with yourself and not knowing what you want in life and not getting clear on what's important in life. People realize what's important after like shit hits the roof. Like people realize that very late. So that's why if I come back to the medical industry, if I come back to why medicines are sold a lot, why people like sick a lot, because they don't prioritize their health. They don't realize that their health is the most important thing that they can take care of. And when it's too late, they think that they can skip sleep. They think that they can have a bad diet. They think that they can do anything to their body because the body doesn't show in the first few years, in the first few months, doesn't show. But they don't realize the power of compounding. They don't realize the power of consistency, of having good health, of going to the gym every day, of training every day. And when it's like 40, 50, even like nowadays 30s, you have degenerative diseases that hinder your human movement, your human operation in this world. And it's really sad because after that, when you're in this medical issue, when you have a disease, when you have an injury, not an injury, but like arthritis So sort of like osteoarthritis, whatever like that hinders your movement. If you have any of that, and that's a lifestyle issue, if you have any of that, you're pretty much done for with disease. And that race to healing yourself, that's another chase. Then it comes. Then you start chasing health when it's too late. You start going to the gym when it's too late. You should be going to the gym when you're healthy, and that compounds. And like I've realized the beauty of me being in business. I love business. And this is why, because you go to the truth. Every single day, you're trying to find out the truth of how things work. And for me, from a medical background, I understood how to find the cause of a disease. Why finding a cause of a disease is so important. So I can bridge both worlds together. I can bridge the health industry with the business industry and really understand the cause of every issue that comes across. And it takes time. It takes time to understand cause. It takes time to go to the root level of the disease, to go to the root level of the business core problem. You have to understand data. You have to understand analytics. And it takes time. So if someone asks you, how do you problem solve for, let's say, diabetes, or how do you overcome like a life autoimmune disorder like rheumatoid arthritis, it takes time to understand the disease. It takes time to what is actually causing your issue, whether it's diet, whether it's lifestyle, and then kind of piecing those things together, and then you find the disease issue, the cause. So that's important. And again, coming back to those people who don't know themselves and who don't deeply go inside themselves to understand who they are, they can never find the right path. They will always be drifting. They will always be having problems with motivation. They will always be having problems with procrastination because they never questioned, they never understood what a good life means for them. How does a good life look for them? It's funny, I haven't even touched on the mind map yet. Like, I'm in the flow of kind of discussing this topic because it's a huge problem. And I've been seeing it since I was in high school. And the people around me having issues with deciding their careers. And I was like, the best way you can decide a career is to do it. Find out if the career fits you or not. And that there were programs in the college. There were, and honestly, more important than education. Like, if you're going to make a biggest decision of where you're going to go in life, what degree you're going to do, and how you're going to see your future self, if you can see that with an opportunity in high school, beyond English, beyond maths, beyond science, whatever, all the unnecessary things you learn in high school, that is the most important thing. If you can see your future beyond getting good or bad, grades don't even matter in high school to a certain extent. So that's what I mean. Like, if you can see your future, and it's not hard. Like, in fact, you don't even have to try out. Like, I wasn't actually a chef. I was a bar helper, but I saw the chefs, how they work. So you don't even have to be that career path that you want to be. You just have to see it from your perspective. Like, you have to see it from if this is going to suit you or not. And the way to solve any problem is to see the core issue. So as we go through this mind map, we're going to see branches emerging. We're going to see like health problems have problems, and then you have the diseases, the symptoms that kind of come out of those core problems. And that's how business also works. You have core issues that you have to find out. You have to problem solve. You have to solve the puzzle. And once you solve it, your growth, so your healing or your health of the business goes up. You just have to keep working. So this is also the thing. If you reach the top, if you reach a milestone, you have to sustain that milestone. So you can't fall off. You can't say, oh, I've innovated, I'm done, right? You have to go to the next milestone. You have to keep going up. And yes, there will be downs, but you keep going up. Like, it's important to reach for the higher. That's a part of growth. That's a part of healing. That's a part of compounding. You can't stop. So I realized that I'm in this for lifelong, and I should just document everything that I learned. So here I am. And I've created this like sort of mind map. So this is the Master Investment and Business Intelligence Guide. We have foundations of mental models and thinking frameworks. So first principles thinking, very important in business. And I realized that after a while, I can just show you this as a preview first, and then we'll go through this deeply. So we have investment philosophy and strategy, business building, understanding, product market fit, and marketing excellence, entrepreneurial qualities and habits. This is very interesting. If you love behaviors of an entrepreneur, you'll really enjoy this. Business excellence and execution guide, and philosopher's builder's guide. So elevating human potential through truth. This is what I'm currently obsessed with at the moment, is understanding my potential and having a philosopher's builder's mindset. So I'll go through that later on as we go through this journey. All right, so we'll go through the first chapter of this mind map, which is foundation, mental models, and thinking frameworks. We have Charlie Munger's lattice work of mental models. We'll go through that first. And then we have Munger's operating system, how Charlie thinks. Jim Collins' frameworks from good to great. So if you haven't heard of these people, I would highly recommend researching them. They're one of the greats in investment, philosophy, business, companies. Highly recommend. So, and you can see there, like the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they understand things. And it's not fluff. It's It's just the truth. Like they know their stuff really well. So it's not self-help. It's not any of that. It's just core fundamentals that shapes thinking. And if you can think like them, you can probably achieve the things that they achieved in life as well. That's how I think. Like I learn from people who are better than me only, and none from those who are not. And not in the sense that people think, like I learn from people who are great in a particular aspect and I want to learn from them, from that aspect. I mean like that, not in derogatory way. So psychology, understanding human behavior, incentive bias. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. So humans cling to incentive bias. Every human has an incentive to do something. That's why they have a desire. That's why they want to do something. Change from hourly to shift pay. Workers found ways to finish faster. CD baby, paid artists weekly versus quarterly. Credit loyalty and word of mouth. So I'll just pop this here. By the way, I'm building this on Xmind, so you can also use Xmind. It's really good. And it's not a sponsored session, so implementation. Map every role to company's objects. Create bonuses for outcomes, not activities. Remove perversive incentives like bad sales quotas. Social proof. So if I had to go through like incentive bias, basically you want to incentivize how people work in your business or how customers, like if you have a loyalty program, if you have a sort of gamification, like you get this reward at particular target that you reach, that will always work better than, as Manga said, activities based. So hourly, etc. So if it's activity based, it's quite versus if it's activity based, like if I had to explain this, customers or people who work in your company or you as a self, if you have a reward system, you'll work much better. Like if you reward yourself after achieving a certain milestone, after achieving a good day, then you'll be kind of inclined to do that again the next day. And that's the core of this incentive bias. Then we have social proof. We've got people follow crowd under uncertainty. So we have the Cialdini hotel study, 75% reuse towels sign, increased reuse 26%. So basically, if you saw that people were reusing their towels, you would almost certainly do that as well. Steve Jobs created lines by limiting supply. So again, limited supply, empty stores signal failure, lines signal desirability. If you have a smaller shop, like there's one concept where if you have a smaller shop and there's a line outside your shop because there is no space, psychological wise, people would think that you're selling out more. And there's that social proof that builds along with, it's just a psychological marketing technique as well. Obviously, if the product's not good, if the service not good, people are not going to come back. But if you have a good product and you want to create social proof, then you can do this, like social proof technique. Implementation. So show customer counts, display testimonials prominently, and create visible momentum. So the way you implement this is you want to show customer counts. These amount of people joined, display testimonials prominently, and visible momentum. Loss aversion. So this is quite popular amongst the people who learn from Charlie Munger. Losses hurt 2 times more than gains feel good. Xerox couldn't sell until switched to leasing. Companies fear losing capital more than missing opportunities. I've definitely experienced this. Like from my personal example, as a human, you'll kind of want to save or want to cut costs or you want to not spend money to avoid loss. But then there is far much greater opportunity and growth in not doing that. So not having that aversion to loss. So you don't want to do that. Obviously, like if there is an issue, you want to understand it. Like why do you want to cut costs? Why what's happening, you know? So you want to understand that and you want to solve it at that level. So you don't want to think too much about cost cutting, or you don't want to think too much about losing this capital if you do marketing. A lot of people don't do marketing because they think that it's an expense. So that's also huge. They don't realize the opportunity of marketing. People don't run ads. People don't run campaigns on social media still to this date because they think that it's an expense. But marketing is not an expense. It was never an expense. It was always an opportunity to grow. So this is what it means. Implementation. So free trials remove loss of fear. Guarantees and warranties, it's always good. Frame as what you lose, not gain. So if you're using the psychological technique to customers, you want to frame it in a way where you're safeguarding them from any loss. So guarantees, warranties, refunds, or like return back policies, etc. So all of that helps to kind of frame the mind that you will not lose anything by doing this thing. That's from a business aspect, application aspect in a business. People use the freemium model a lot. There's a freemium model that's quite huge, like you have ChatGPT, etc. All these companies use freemium models, but you move towards tiers. If you enjoy the product, you're more likely to purchase it. So that's that. Confirmation bias. As humans, this is quite prominent. You'll see yourself if you have a bias towards something, you seek the knowledge, you seek the information to confirm that bias. You don't seek the opposite knowledge. And that's quite hard, and to think the different way, because the different way, the outside the bias is where your growth is. And this is what social media does as well, is it keeps feeding your own biases, and that keeps making that bias stronger. But then if a new bias comes in, and maybe that's good for you, maybe that's the opportunity for you, that bias doesn't apply or is not able to enter your mind because you've already got that confirmation bias in you that this is not true or this doesn't work. But what if that does work, you know? So that's why you have to think, like you have to think from a very open mind that all your biases are what has made you. And if you want to go to the next level, then you need to have new information. So you need to unlearn your biases. Very important. Commitment, consistency. People align with commitments. So commitments basically means trust. If you can commit to a person that you'll give this at a particular day, or you ship this at a particular day, you'll receive this at a particular time, that builds trust, and that builds kind of this relationship with your customer and your brand and yourself as well. Like people who don't trust themselves, people who never take risk in life, they are the ones that lack commitment. They are the ones that lack this understanding that they should be able to do this or trust themselves to do this and commit to do this. It's giving a word type thing. Reciprocation. People feel obligated to return favors. So that's also quite huge. If you give something to someone, they will always feel that they have to give back. Because at a fundamental level, like as humans, we obviously want to do good in this world. We want to love people. We want to enjoy the life that we have. And we have this thinking that giving back is actually a part of human being. Like it's a part of service. It's a part of our nature to be able to give something, share something. But to a certain extent, there's always people who don't do that, like who don't reciprocate the same way as you do. And because of that, some people think that the reciprocation that they would get is never enough. And they feel never enough because of that. So there's a cycle that you can get trapped in. But if you come from an abundance mindset, there's another thing. There's two types of mindsets. There's a scarcity mindset and then there's an abundance mindset. So if you come from an abundance mindset, you generally feel like if someone gives you something, you will want to give back to them. Authority bias. So difference to perceived experts. So this is another one where people who see someone with a stethoscope, if people see that, they will presume that you're a doctor, you're an expert. So people create that feeling. If you have a suit on, professional, etc. So there's an authority kind of bias. There's always like this, they want to respect, they want to honor gurus, people who have kind of this perceived expertise in this sense. But there's a issue with that because at a core fundamental level, everybody is the same. The only thing that's different between you and an expert is the knowledge and the application of knowledge. But the core fundamental level, they are the same as you. And that's what people like. If people say someone's more successful or someone's more like consistent, etc., than you, sure, to a certain extent that can be true. Like there is a lot of factors that are involved in any aspect of human being life, but nothing makes someone an expert if they haven't applied that directly into their life. So that's very important to understand. If they haven't applied a particular thing in their life, they wouldn't actually know properly as well. So they would just talk from fluff. They wouldn't talk from the truth angle. So if you want to know the truth, you'll see like a lot of young people sell courses, etc. And I can do that too, right? I can do that too. Like I can be like, oh, I made this much money and sell a course, whatever, in business, Shopify, whatever. But that's not my nature. Like my nature is not to sell something that hurts the integrity of the concept in itself. I'm happily selling you the products that I sell, obviously, that I get imported from India and sell it here in New Zealand and worldwide. That obviously, because there is a trade going on. So that's integrity. I've made easy the access of that product to you. That's why you're buying it. That product back in India, you were not able to buy for whatever reason. So the reason I've marketed to you, well, that requires effort. There's a value that I've provided to you. That's why I can sell it. But the people who sell courses, especially about money, like the business, like I can sell you courses, but it should be about Ayurveda or it should be about my knowledge, which I've accumulated over a period of time that has helped me and that can help you. But the core fundamental of business, the core fundamental of money is if you're selling something and you're selling it because you've got an authority in making money, that hurts the integrity because you should be giving it away for free because you haven't made money from that. You're making money from somewhere else, right? So we have to be very mindful. And again, authority bias comes in here that not everybody is a guru. Not everybody has the ability to teach. In fact, the people who don't call themselves gurus are the real gurus. So authority comes from truly doing the thing that you're teaching, that you have applied in your life. And you'll see that. Like you'll notice that the people who you don't follow or the people who kind of talk about fluff, and you'll soon realize the fluff and you'll fall off. That's what I did with almost all gurus back in the day. Like, I realized most of them, like when I was on the spiritual path especially, most of them were just talking fluff. They didn't know what the truth was about consciousness, and I didn't connect with them. Like, I questioned, why don't they do this? Like, why don't they eat meat? Like, what's the issue, type thing. So I realized that they're not talking from the truth level, and you go deeper and deeper again, finding the core. You find the core and you're like, oh, like you found it. Like, you know what consciousness is now. And because you had this guide and this person and you applied it in your life, you understood the truth. Scarcity effect. Value increases with perceived rarity. Very important. So if people perceive something as limited or scarce, the value of that goes up. So market forces predicts supply and demand. Price set by scarcity and desire, not cost. Adam Smith's water diamond paradox. Water is essential but cheap. Diamonds useless but expensive. So I want to give an example here. Like, I genuinely believe good quality water will be scarce in the future. That in itself, because water will be scarce in the future, the value of water will go up. So same thing right now that is happening is people think that diamonds are scarce, but now lab-grown diamonds have come into market. So that has kind of plateaued the growth of diamonds or the price of diamonds. Things that are not essential to human beings will eventually fall off as evolution occurs. Apple maintains high prices through controlled supply. Create artificial scarcity with limited editions. Build desire before availability. So pre-selling something is always good. If you want to launch something and you want to pre-sell it, it's always good because you build that desire and then you make it available. So never compete on price alone. So price wars, you'll always lose. You cannot compete on price. You can only compete on brand. And that's what like the biggest companies understand, as price will fluctuate everywhere. But if you have a good brand and if you have a good relationship with your customers, that's what will sustain you in the business world. And that's probably what I've learned the most, is to build good relationships with customers. Have a really good customer service. Network effects. Each user adds value for all users. Facebook worth $0 with 100 users, 500 billion with 2 billion. So if you are part of, like, everybody uses Google and everybody uses Google Drive, everybody uses Google Docs, and it's like an entire ecosystem that you'll use Google because everybody else is also using Google and it's easier to share stuff like Apple to Apple, airdrops. These are all network effects that one user is adding value to the existing user or to all users. So you want to create that type of structure in your business. You want to have network effects. Same code, but different network value. Benjamin Franklin. So Benjamin Franklin is one of the greatest investors in history. He wrote The Intelligent Investor, which inspired Warren Buffett, Bill Ackman, Charlie Munger, all of these people who are great investors in business, who created business and who created wealth for the world. They have got their philosophy from Benjamin Franklin. First, subscription library. Build features that improve with users. Create user to user value. Focus on critical mass in one geography first. So you want to, like a virus, it grows in one particular geography first and then it kind of replicates itself everywhere else. You want to create that sort of network effect. And we can all understand the virus effect because of COVID. Opportunity cost. Every choice excludes alternatives. Competitive advantage, sustainable moat wins, scale economies, advantage compounded size. This is quite important, like for a product. If you have, like, let's say you order 100 products and it costs $1 each, at 1,000 products, it should cost 50 cents. That's unit economics. Your unit price should always go down as the order size goes up. So your costs can come down. So that's scale economies. Mathematics and probability. So because we've reached 1 hour, I'll probably end the session here and we'll discuss mathematics and probability tomorrow, numbers that matter, and we'll carry forward the mind map from there. So I'll only shoot 1 hour, which will get cut into reels and clips, and they'll be on my social media everywhere. And I hope you enjoyed this first session. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you discovered something. I know there was a lot of talking, like from my end. I know there's a lot of information, and like I am trying to kind of understand and still pace myself when I'm talking. So I just want to say thank you for listening. I appreciate your time, and I hope this can be applied somewhere in your life to make your life better and to help others make their lives easier. And if you ever want to start a business, always go for it. Just try it out, experiment, and you'll always see that it's always better to experiment than to think or to be like, oh, like I wish I had done that, at that age. So if you want to do something, just do it, because there's never going to be a better time to do it. And if something's really pulling you towards doing it, just like there's no wait. Like, you should always do the things that you deeply want to do, because there's an innate nature in us that we all have, and it's dimmed down by society, unfortunately. That's for another day. I'll talk about that later. Otherwise, have a great day, take care, and thank you for watching.